We know how he found his way back to himself. We know how he remembered, and we'll talk in a moment about his journey home. But let's look for a moment at this father, this amazing father. And I want to suggest to you that the father was also prodigal. Thus, the title of this thought today, God's prodigality. The son, when he had received his inheritance, did not hesitate to share it. He was generous with all of his friends until he had nothing more to give. The Father represents God in the person of Jesus Christ, who left his home, who left the wealth of heaven, who left all the riches and privileges of glory. He gave it all away and came to claim those of us who were lost. Just as the shepherd went after the lost sheep and the woman went after the lost coin, God sent Jesus to come in his love and search us out. He gave everything. He gave up his wardrobe. He gave up his status and position. He gave up his acquaintances. He gave up his home. He gave up the life that he lived as the Spirit of God and came and took on the flesh of man, forever limiting himself to humanity. He sacrificed it all. This amazing love that God gave for you and me. The hope in this then is that we who have fallen into sin should recognize that there is a way back from sin. Now, let's take a look for a moment at the people that surrounded the lost sheep, the lost coin, the lost son. There were those who were judgmental, those who could not understand, would not accept that there was enough care and love for the lost. Those who were in the 99 were not concerned about the one. After all, they hadn't strayed away. They hadn't fallen. They were not lost. Why waste time on something, somebody who was gone of their own free will, who had fallen into disgrace, disreputation, disrepair, disrepute? Why bother? In the church today, there is among us, unfortunately, some heartlessness, some harshness, some retributive behavior. We want to wreak retribution on those we think who are beneath us. I want to suggest to you that the moment that we start to think that we have arrived more than others is an indication that we ourselves have not yet arrived. Someone wiser than me has said, "But for the grace of God, there go I." When I see the fallen, when I see the failed, when I see the lost, it should remind me that God found me and brought me home. And if he found me and brought me home, then let me rejoice as I recognize him now finding another and bringing him or her home. The prodigality of God's love talks about his benevolent spirit, his giving spirit. John 3:16. God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believed in him need not perish, but have everlasting life. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that wonderful? God loved that whosoever. He didn't name us by our clan name, by our tribe name, by our family name. He didn't name us by our status, our title, our ethnicity, our gender, our race, our accomplishments, or the lack thereof. He said, whosoever will. In his invitation, he uses that same term again. Whosoever will, let him come. Now, in this gender-conscious age, I want to modify that just a little bit and say it this way. Whosoever will, let him or her come. God is not gender biased. It is just coincidental that all of this is written in the masculine tense. But for those of you who are gender sensitive, let me remind you that God is individual sensitive. He doesn't care whether you are male or female. He has no problem with how old you are or you are not. He is not concerned about your social status or position. It doesn't really matter if you belong to the gay or the straight, the in to the outs, the ups or the downs. The love of God is sufficient to cover anybody and everybody who desires to come unto him. In this parable of the prodigal, we are also dealing with the generosity of the father toward the son after the son was gone. First, he gives the son a significant portion of all of his possessions and declares him free, and the son ruins it all. While the son is gone, the love of the father is so deep that he never stops searching for that son. The parable finds the father